Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, dear beloved brothers and sisters. Shalom. Jah, Rastafari. Greetings to all of you, dear beloved brothers and sisters, family, members of the human family, and even to those haters and those who would desire that such a show as this would not actually be on the internet. Thank you for joining us this week, this Thursday evening on the Image and Nation show. My name is Brother Leo Muhammad. I am your host of this show on a weekly basis, and I am assisted by my beloved sister and wife, Sister Claudia Muhammad. Could you give the greetings, please, beloved?
Assalamu alaikum, family. I pray that you're well, and thank you for your time today. You're going to have a wonderful show today.
Thank you, beloved. That's our Sister Claudia, welcoming everybody to the Image and Nation show. Well, what can I say? We've had such a wonderful time over the last 7 weeks. And here we are today, really moving into a different phase now. And, as always, I say welcome to episode 38 of the Image and Nation show. And today what we have is a general discussion. We just want to have a general discussion. We really want to invite those of you who would like to share, who would like to partake this week by either putting something in the chat, a question or comment. And if you would like to possibly go live on air with us, then, just make an indication that you would like to do that. And if possible, we will bring you on so that you can share with us this week in our general discussion. And so, welcome, family, and also please remember to inform a member of your family, somebody that you love and care for. Let them know that the Image and Nation show is right now live on Zoom and also on YouTube, and that we want to have them participate in this show, because this show is all about uplifting, enlightening, and giving people that ability to really tune in to their best self and allow, once again, that tremendous faculty called imagination to flourish. Hence why we break down imagination into image a nation. We want you to be able to see for yourself a whole new paradigm, a whole new nation. Even if right now we are within a nation, we want to be able to image our own nation, to be able to see for ourselves what we as a people can do, what we as a people can create. Because if we can see it in our mind's eye, we can bring it into reality. That's the reality, dear family, of what we're able to do once we are once again able to employ that tremendous God-given faculty of imagination. Whatever you can image in your mind, you can bring that into reality. So, dear family, last week at the end of episode 37, part 7 of the Image and Nation show, we promised that this week, to cap off the last 7 weeks of the wheel above top secret, that was the title that we ran with for the 7 weeks, we would play the video vindicating and bearing witness to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, when at the end of his July 4th, 2020 criteria message from the garden, he asked Allah to show a sign of the wheels at the conclusion of his words of warning to the world. The following that we're about to show is just some of the evidence of what happened later that day and beyond that day. We would like to share this with you. This is what we wanted to share last week, but we ran out of time. But we thought it was important, really, having spent 7 weeks looking at the wheel, to really take a look at this final aspect of that subject matter. And by the way, in our general discussion today, if it's the case that you want to share, you want to participate in the discussion, and that's what you want to talk about. If you want to talk about the wheel, then you're most welcome to do that. In terms of the subject, that could be one of the subject matters that we can talk about. Now, I'm having a bit of trouble here because I saw. I wanted to try and locate this thing. For some reason, it's not allowing me to see. No, we can't just press play. My wife is suggesting just press play, but it's not a case of that. It's a case of locating exactly where we want to be on the video. But that's just not happening. That's a shame. We may not be able to play after all, because I'm not getting any cursor. I'm not getting anything here, which I'm supposed to have to be able to see exactly where I am in the video. I don't understand why.
I'm representing to you, those two men, they are the masters of the wheel.
Yes, at the right spot.
And that's where I got what I got to tell you over the last 20, nearly 30 years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The planning of the presidents of the United States, I got it on my visit to the wheel.
Yes, sir.
You all laughed at me, thought I was crazy.
It's not the right spot, beloved brothers and sisters.
No, sir. No, hell no. No, sir. He made me. Yes, sir. That's why you can't find.
It's not the right place, and I don't understand why. I can't see it. That's a real shame. No, I'm not going to be able to play what I wanted to play. Like I said, I don't understand why that has happened. It's not going to go forward. That is so strange. I had it all set up and ready to go, but for whatever reason, it's not showing me where I can put my cursor in order to make it happen. The video is right there, but as far as the cursor is concerned, as far as the actual length of how far in we are, I can't see anything. So
maybe if you talk and I'll try and see if I can get.
Yeah, I've basically tried everything on this. My wife is going to see what she can find, and then maybe we can play it in a different way. But for the time being, we'll move on, dear family, to this next phase of our subject this week. So today, Thursday, the 30th of June, 2022. We wanted to have a general discussion about the following. And it could be any one of these things, and it could be several of these things. But number one, we wanted to reflect, talk about the war in Ukraine. Any thoughts, ideas that you may have around what's currently going on in that conflict in the Ukraine, bearing in mind, dear family, that we have touched on this before, and we're very clear that, you know, this is not just about Ukraine, but it's really potentially something so much bigger. Also, number two, the aftermath of the pandemic and the repercussions, because again, you know, it would appear from according to the mainstream media that really that's something that we're supposed to just put on the back burner, and it's of no more relevance whatsoever to, you know, the members of the human family. But from my observation, there appears to be a lot of things going on where that particular pandemic is concerned, and repercussions in that there does appear to be a lot of people who are dying, and dying in very unusual circumstances and situations. And I wonder why nobody appears to want to talk about that phenomenon of sudden death that is now occurring all over the world, and you know, to people, young people in sports and other things, just dropping dead. You know, again, like I said, there doesn't appear to be any linkage between what's happening and the V that was rolled out, and people were being coerced and forced into getting V back in the day during the pandemic. And all of a sudden now, you know, after we've received so many warnings about what potentially could happen, all of a sudden, you know, there seems to be quiet on that situation. So we want to discuss that. We want to discuss the so-called New World Order, the Great Reset. These are all the different names given for it, the new normal, etc., etc. Anybody got any thoughts, ideas around these things? New World Order, Great Reset, new normal. Did you want to try? If you go to around 302.
Yeah, hold on.
302 you want, 302.51. So we want to maybe have a conversation around that. Number four, disaster preparedness and survival. How many of us, dear family, appreciate that right now we should be preparing for disaster? Okay, there's some stuff happening on our planet. There's stuff coming down, the fuel lines, the queues for petrol are getting longer and longer. Again, they're talking about shortages. There is widespread conversation and discussion now all around the world about famine, and not famine in Africa or famine in the usual places that we would hear these types of discussions taking place, but they're talking about famine now coming to America, famine coming to Europe, famine coming to the West, food shortages. Why are we not thinking about disaster preparedness and our survival? Number five, where is Black male-female relationships? Where are we at, Black brothers and sisters, when it comes to our relationships? I watched some mad, crazy video just recently of a sister and a brother who were in a relationship, had a child together, and just the kind of, you know, now they're broken up, and just the type of language that was being used by the two of them against one another, the accusations to and fro against one another, and the type of acrimony and bad blood that existed between them. And, you know, there is a problem between Black male-female relationships. What about the Black family, etc., etc.? How are we today as a people when it comes to our relationship? Is this something that's growing and developing and, harmonious and beautiful? Or are we absolutely atrophying, degenerating, and being broken down as a couple in terms of our relationships, the Black man and the Black woman? Let's talk about it, dear family. Number 6, why is it imperative for the Black world to unite? Not just Black America or Black Britain or the Caribbean or the African continent, but as a people globally. Why is it imperative, especially in this time, that we unite? Is it something that we are willing to do? Will it happen, or will we continue in the current vein of disunity and destruction? Number 7, who are the Black leaders offering real solutions and leadership today? Come on, man, let's think about it. How many Black leaders do you know? Do you know of any, whether they're local community leaders or global world leaders? Who are the Black leaders offering real solutions and leadership? These are my questions, okay? You may have your own questions. I'm happy to entertain your questions, okay? Let's have a conversation together. Do shows like The Hidden Truth, I don't know if how many of you are familiar with The Hidden Truth with Brother Andrew Muhammad, but do shows like The Hidden Truth and Imagination, the People's Podcast with Brother Joshua Muhammad, Elevated Places, Sister Ava Muhammad, the Sister Shanice Show, and Wake Up Africa with Dr. Mumbai. These shows helping to offset the propaganda of the mainstream media? These are the things that I would love us to have a conversation around. But as I said, you may have your own questions. And finally, should the majority of Black people accept Islam and return to our nature? That's a question I'm asking. Should the majority of Black people accept Islam and return back to our natural way of life, back to our nature? That's the question I'm posing. Go ahead, sister.
Yes, our brother John says number 6.
Number 6.
Yeah, he said, what is the Black world? Can we agree on what it is? What is the best way to strategy to unite the Black world?
Okay, that's very good, Brother John. Why is it imperative for the Black world to unite? And Brother John has added his own questions on top of that. Go ahead, read them again, please.
So what is the Black world? Can we agree on what it is? What is the best way strategy to unite the Black world? Well,
I think those are really important questions, and I would love to hear from other people in relation to, any answers that you may like to offer to Brother John on those questions. But I would say the Black world is the non-white world. Okay, that's the Black world. That includes the black, the brown, the yellow, and the red indigenous people of our planet. That's what I would call the Black world, dear brothers and sisters. And it's important, that we recognize that this non-white world is a very, very important world for us to unite and come together. Of course, we got some brown people and we got some yellow people and we got some red people, I'm sure, who are probably as bad, if not worse, than some of these white supremacists. But we're talking generally about indigenous peoples of the earth who are original people. That, in my humble opinion, is the Black world. Go ahead.
I'm going to throw something in now. So what about, isn't it the last days, it's about your righteousness?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think, I hope everybody heard what Sister Claudia said. She said, well, what about the fact that in the last days, it's really about your righteousness? In other words, not really about necessarily the color of your skin. And I agree. It's not necessarily, when we say Black, we're really talking, we're using really a political language here, because we're not really saying that it's skin color. We're really not on that. What we're saying is a certain consciousness, a certain consciousness, and
your mind,
a mindset. Okay, and that mindset has to be righteous. It has to be, in my humble opinion, this is really the criteria, because unfortunately we got, whether we really appreciate this or not, we've also got some black white supremacists on the planet. Okay, we got black people who are so full of self-hatred that if it was just on the basis of the color, the shade, the hue of the skin, we would be making a terrible, terrible mistake. We got some light-skinned black people who are so light-skinned that you might make the mistake of thinking that they were Caucasian, but they are more conscious, right. More righteous, more black than black. More black, exactly, more black. You know, you take a look at, say, a Bob Marley, who, you know, who had a white father, and I would humbly suggest a white imperialist father as well, and his black mother. But look at Bob Marley. Look at what he manifested in terms of blackness. And so, you know, we're really not getting caught up today, dear family, on just the color of a person's skin, because that type of colorism is really not where it's at. And so, you know, I think the point made by Sister Claudia is a very important one. It's really about the mindset and the level of righteousness or consciousness that the person is bringing to the table. But yeah, we want to hear from more people. Were you able to find the video?
I have.
Have you got it set?
Yes.
Are you able to play it? Because I'd really like to play that for the family before we.
So just a try. We haven't done this before.
This is something. This is new. Okay, yes, so we hope. We hope it works.
Right.
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna share screen. This will stop other screens. So, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And I think you have to turn your volume down.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's the right spot. Where's your volume?
Yeah, I've got it. I'm done. Turn yours.
Go to full screen.
That's why I asked them to show you the wheels.
Yes, sir.
Because I've also asked Allah to send them over here.
Yes, sir.
Just to confirm what I've said today.
Yes, sir.
That the man that I'm representing, you, those two men, they are the masters of the wheels.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't even look like a plane, does it?
It's like a spacecraft.
Yes.
I don't know what this is, but whatever it is not a plane, and this is moving fast.
I'm telling you, those aren't planes.
There's.
Oh, you got it. UFO, you got it, you
I'm
got it.
recording right now. I'm recording. Look.
UFO over Southside. Hey, yo, what the fuck is that?
You see how it's moving?
Nobody else looking at this shit?
Nope.
Do nobody else see this?
I'm getting it.
UFO! UFO motherfucking O! Get the fuck out of here! That is a UFO, y'all. Hey, what? Hey, we don't have shit that's up. We don't have shit that's up and get it up.
UFO. It's still there. It is not a helicopter. The helicopters don't maneuver like that. Now it's going back up. Hey, look it, it's going back up.
When I close down in the garden,
Yes, sir.
the God will do some work.
Yes, sir.
Not no lantern, bro. That defies logic.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. It looks like a damn UFO.
Why is it supposed to go? Where's it going?
I know I'm not tripping. Outside my window.
Una especie de objetos voladores no identificados, llámense ovnis, cambiando de colores. Son 5.
Que porra é esse?
Eu sei.
Não, drone não?
É não, na altura dessa. Tá vendo?
Acabar é o mundo aí, viu? Cadeira de área.
Tem uma luzinha piscando, ó.
UFO 啊，是什么东西啊？这个是，怎么在跑啊？
Wow. Fantastic. I'm so glad that we're able to play that. I do hope that you were able to see it and that you that's our little capstone from last week and the last 7 weeks, just to finish everything off. That was people coming out and basically demonstrating, showing that they could see what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan predicted that we would see when he asked Allah to manifest the wheels after his message on the criteria on the 4th of July 2020. And that evening and beyond, going up to around the 14th of the month, there were multiple sightings all over the world, dear family. Just before we continue, because there's quite a few messages in the chat, but just before we go further, let's just go to our sponsors. Imagination, promoting and advertising goods and services for the benefit of our community. Please take note of the following, dear family, and support. JJ Sorrell products. Check out at Sorrell 2020, and she has some absolutely beautiful sorrel products, including cupcakes and sorrel drinks and sorrel jam, you name it, it's there. I was just having some of the sorrel jam yesterday. It's even spicy, very beautiful. You should check it out for yourself, dear family, and support that budding business. WYLA, for boys and girls aged 8 to 16, producing our future leaders. We are trying to have a conversation this evening about the leaders, the current leaders, but we also need to be thinking about the future leaders, the young people who are coming up today. What are we doing to allow them to become our future leaders? Check out www.wylauk.com and get your child enrolled in WYLA. Dear family, check out Nature's Hair Products. Visit www.natureshairproducts.co.uk and try the beard oil, specially formulated hair butters, and so much more from Nature's Hair Products. Today, dear family, as stated before, is Thursday, 30th of June, 2022, and we wanted to have the general discussion, which has already begun. And, just looking again at the chat, Claudia, you wanted to share something?
No, I was going to say, why is it that part of the criterion, the end bit, is not on YouTube? They've taken it off. That bit about the wheels.
Oh, they've removed something from, okay.
Yeah, then you can't get it on YouTube. You can get the criterion, but you can't get that bit. Why would they take that off?
Okay, well, this is the thing I'm saying, because we don't have our own world, we don't have our own nation, and we are a people who are essentially behind enemy lines, then of course, in answer to that particular question, they're going to be able to interfere. They're going to be able to take things down. They do that to their own, by the way.
Of course.
So we shouldn't be surprised if things that we post, things that we want our people to feed on, are very quickly removed. So I thought it was interesting, actually, going back to, John Canoe, who says, number 6, what is the Black world? Can we agree on what it is? What is the Black strategy to unite the Black world? And then DJ Mr. P says, Black is a color, not a people. Our people are African. So I hope that answers the first Black world question. And, in a way, just listening to these comments again already, this is why there's so much contention, because there's so many views and opinions, which is why one of the things that I think is important is for us as a people to begin having these conversations, because at some point, we're going to have to come to some type of agreement in order for us to be able to move forward as a people. black stroke white is a social construct created by Caucasians for divide and rule. Well, you know, again, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, because you see, Caucasian people are brand new people on our planet, dear family, and long, long, long before Caucasians were even a thought in the minds of the original man and woman, believe me, we already identified black and other elements of nature that we never shied away from. We never ever saw black as something negative, which is why we have you know, so many historical terminologies that we use that describe black. You understand what I'm saying? You know, when you go back into Kemet, it means the black lands. When you go into Aswan and Saud, where you get Saudi Arabia from, again, it means black. You know, there's so much more to these things. But again, we believe that white people are all powerful and that they're the ones who have defined all of the language. No, they haven't, dear family. We established, and let me say it like this. Let me say this to you. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us the true definition and identity of the original people. He asked the question, who is the original man? The answer is that the original man is the Asiatic black man. Some of us immediately run, oh God, what do you mean Asiatic? You know, long before English, the English language and this word earth, the planet that we live on, dear family, according to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, was called Asia. Asia. So now you think of Asians, you think of in the UK, we'd be thinking about some Indian people from South Asia. In North America, you'd be thinking about Oriental people, you know, Chinese people. You refer to them as Asians, or Koreans as Asians, and you don't see black people as Asians, but we are the originators of that. We are the original Asians. And so the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, the God of the universe. And so, you know, we need to really appreciate that our designation, our title, our identity is so much bigger. We're the God of the universe. We're the original man, the Asiatic black man, the maker. See, we're not just consumers, we're makers. We're the owner. We're not a people who have been robbed completely and we are devoid of ownership. No, we own the planet Earth. We're the God, not just of Earth, not just of Asia, we're the God of the universe, dear beloved family. But you know, again, I'm saying we have to get much bigger in our thinking, in our imagination, we have to be able to see beyond what we think as a white construct, a social construct created by Caucasians for divide and rule. I can assure you, the things that they've used in terms of divide and rule were certainly not the social construct of black and white. In other words, what is being suggested here is that black and white we're supposed to be this united body of people, everybody just in a love fest. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to understand the origins of black, which nobody can show you an origin for, because black is just so ancient and so far back. But the Caucasian, the white, he's just literally came about in the twinkling of an eye. And of course, I know that's going to be controversial for some of you. You don't want to accept the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But what he teaches will be proved at no limit of time. You will come to realize, you will come to know that the Caucasian is a brand new man to our planet. And even though he's gone around naming everything and trying to define everything, it doesn't mean that what he puts a name on or tries to define is definitive in any way or form. John Canoe says the confusion over black identity results in the continued destruction of the black African and black Caribbean. He says mixed race people are not black people. You know, again, we just talked about Bob Marley. I don't know how anyone can really say that. You see, this is where this is the divide and rule. It exists among us. It's not between black and white. It's about black people who have bought into the light skin, dark skin foolishness. And then we ourselves start to divide ourselves against one another, thinking that because the enemy, like with Malcolm X, raped his way into that brother's family and Malcolm had this reddish ginger hair, how many of us would have rejected him out of hand, you know, because, oh, you know, he's got the white man's blood in him. No, dear family, Malcolm was black, 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 despite the illegal entry into his family by the enemy. Says here, African and African Caribbean people have to put on a temporary identity of IC3, black, in order to organize effectively to get the job done. Well, I mean, I'm not going to pretend to understand what that means. I know that IC3 is a designation used by police forces in the UK to identify black people, you know, but I don't know in what way that we are supposed to employ that as a means of going forward. This says, Dear Leo Muhammad, what's your opinion on hard money as a uniting tool for black people, i.e. Bitcoin or a gold-backed currency? I mean, I really don't know. I don't know. I think, you know, money in whatever form it is an important tool in a world where the philosophy says money makes the world go round. So we need a medium of exchange as a people. We need to have currency. I would say definitely if it's gold back, that's a solid currency. I've never really heard this term hard money, but certainly if we if we had a currency that was backed by gold or gold itself, then certainly I think that's a tremendous medium of exchange in terms of us being able to use something to purchase and to, you know, reward for those things that are produced that we can, you know, buy and sell using something of that nature. But whether it's Bitcoin or some of these other cryptocurrencies that are currently out there, I say, you know, that a lot of our people are investing in these things now and they're utilizing these things. I've got no problem with it, but make no mistake, understand this, that when this system crashes, when it eventually comes down, and it's coming down in a hurry, all of that will come down. All of that will ultimately be destroyed. And according to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, there is a new currency that will be established by Almighty God Allah, and that currency definitely is gold, and that currency definitely is backed by gold. Real currency, not any fiat money or fake money that's currently being touted as the saving of any people. You know, I don't believe that money ultimately is going to be the savior in any form. It's a tool that needs to be utilized, but it's not the be all or end all. I think even more important than money is the type of relationships that we cultivate between one another, because in the end, dear family, it's not the money that really is valuable, it's the people who determine the value of money. And so if we fail to cultivate human beings and we cultivate an ideology around money, we will still, in my humble opinion, be on the losing side, because it's, to me, all about the value of the people who in turn can give value to currency and other things. Somebody says hard money is useless in the hands of people who are not tightly organized around a clear and specific identity. Yeah, I mean, identity is very, very important in the sense that unity, oneness, being able to identify yourself with a particular group, in my view, is very, very important. Somebody says Negroes have been bamboozled over the issue of identity for centuries. Well, yeah, I would agree, Negroes have, but I don't necessarily believe that an enlightened or awakened Black man and woman is in that same position. The word or the term Negro was given to us, was coined by the social engineers who were white supremacists and slave masters. Negro not having anything to do with the color Black or having anything to do with any origin within the African reality. Negro was taken from Latin, from the Latin root necro, which means something dead or neutral. And those social engineers knew exactly what they were doing when they refer to us as Negro. And that corresponds 100% with the scripture in where we are described as a dead people in need of resurrection. Not people coming out of graves, dear family, but people who have been made mentally, morally, spiritually dead to the reality of themselves. And this is why we are in need today of being resurrected. Somebody says African and Caribbean people are retarded and of inferior intelligence as a result of the impact of white supremacy. Well, you know, that sounds a little bit retarded itself, if I'm honest with you, John Kuno. You know, African and Caribbean people are retarded and of inferior intelligence as a result of the impact of white supremacy. It's not that we are retarded and inferior in truth, it's that we have been operated on by the system of white supremacy. And we have mostly, as a people, been absolutely beaten into submission and beaten into this adoption of an inferior status, okay? And that is in the process of being reversed by the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and, you know, a consciousness raising teaching that is now, you know, global, worldwide, and many, many of our people are slowly but surely waking up and coming out of this condition. But the idea that we are somehow, I know you didn't say we are inherently retarded, but I would be very careful about that language suggesting that maybe it's inherent or that it's something that, you know, is natural to the African, to the Black man, to the Black woman. It certainly isn't. We are the God of the universe. We are inherently a beautiful, powerful people, righteous people by nature, but based on the circumstances of the last 500 years, we are in the condition that we are in, but rising out of that condition as each day goes by. The impact of white supremacy has forced African people and Caribbean people to work against Black people to earn a good living. They are innocent victims, prisoners of the system. The most I can do is make them work hard for their good living while working to nullify white supremacy. Well, you know, I think somebody said that it's not necessarily about hard work, but it's about smart work. And hard work is necessary and smart working is necessary in order for us to be able to work our way out of our condition. That's why Bitcoin is the answer to this dilemma. Somebody believes that Bitcoin is the answer to this dilemma. I don't know about that. I would say that Bitcoin, like all other cryptocurrencies and other currencies, can play its role in, you know, the lifting of our condition, but I wouldn't say that Bitcoin in and of itself is the answer to any of our problems. Be polite to African people and Caribbean people, but avoid them at all times, except when working together on something constructive. Black people are retarded and of inferior intelligence because of the impact of the system of white supremacy. Idle Black people are dangerous, clumsy, and reckless in the middle of a culture war. You know, there's truth in some of what you are expressing, but I just get the impression that you're a little bit, I don't know if you're Black or if you're white, but you just seem a little bit kind of vicious towards Black people. But what I would say is that those of us who are Black and refuse to study, refuse to unite, you refuse to play our role in the liberation struggle, then we are literally an enemy in the ranks, making it more difficult for our people to rise out of the condition. You make a good point about Bitcoin. Thank you, John Canoe, for that. The only way to utilize the blockchain to serve Black people is to organize on WEB3 with a consensus engine. I don't understand any of that. I don't know enough about it to make a comment about it. Yes, you are correct. Racism is a social construct. We have to use the social construct in order organize effectively in this world to counter the power of white supremacy. We must use the social construct of Blackness as a working uniform to get the job done, to organize for reparatory justice. ASA financial discipline is the key to our survival. Not worry about white supremacy, which we can't do anything about. You can change Bitcoin, but Bitcoin changes you, hence Black financial discipline. DJ Mr. P, as a people, our ethnicity is African. Doesn't matter where we are born or where we live, our identity crisis is perpetuated by Black, Caribbean, West Indian, etc. Ethnicity and nationality are two distinct things that continually get mixed up. IC3 is just a label which I do not identify as. Black people are victims and prisoners in the system of white supremacy. There are no Black men, there are no Black women, there are only Black females and Black males. Only white people are the managers in the white supremacist world. There are white men and white women. Well, again, I think that's a little bit of semantics being played there. There are Black men, there are Black women, there are Black females, there are Black males. I mean, this is what I'm saying. If we don't rise out of just playing games with words, then we can be like a dog chasing his tail, just going around, just having an argument for the argument's sake. But from as far as the imagination show is concerned, we're not about those semantics and just game playing with words or whatever. Anybody can play with words, and we got loads and loads of our people who can do those things. We got lots and lots of very intellectual Black people who can bamboozle others with word play and whatever, but we're just really not about that. The idea of saying that we're not Black males and we're not Black females, or we're not Black men and we're not Black women, but we're Black males and we're Black females. I mean, it's ridiculous, beloved. They are one and the same thing. That's like saying we're African, we're not Black. Well, every African that I've ever met identifies as Black. I'm talking about Black Africans, not these white people who now claim to be African as well. But this is what I'm saying. If we want to play those games, then we can. But me personally, I never, ever engage in such game playing and word play, because it's a complete and utter waste of time. Dear family, the conversation continues. African people and Caribbean people are retarded and of inferior intelligence when it comes to financial matters. That's your opinion. I would disagree. You know, our people, many of our people absolutely are masters when it comes to money and the currency situation in the world at present, even though much of the financial systems were never designed for us to become masters of them. They were designed mostly by Caucasians, again, to bamboozle the African and to have us basically confused about what is going on in the financial world. Don't forget that the world that we live in today is dominated by European financial markets. It's not dominated by African or Caribbean or Black financial markets. It's the European financial markets that dominate planet Earth at the present time. So the idea of suggesting that, you know, African and Caribbean people are retarded and or inferior intelligence when it comes to financial matters is really, you know, quite a stupid comment, in my humble opinion, for anybody to make. Africans and Caribbean people do not understand the difference between money and currency. Business schools do not teach the difference. Well, I think very few people understand the difference between currency, electricity, currency, okay, energy, power, and money. I think very few people are taught the difference between these things. If you study Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you will see that that's not something that's taught in any schools apart from the higher schools of learning for those elites who send their children to such places. But in general, no, those things are not taught. Money is not something that's taught. People don't really understand those differences. These are things that you have to learn outside of the curriculum. In response to the second part of the question, the way forward for us as a people is for each of us to work on ourselves as individuals to change the community, society. You first must change yourself. Beautiful comment. I like that one from DJ Mr. P. And that's why in the Nation of Islam, as an example, our number one lesson that we are taught to study and to implement in our lives is called self-improvement, the basis for community development. Self-improvement, the basis for community development. Because again, we can spend all the time, if we want, pointing the finger at this one and that one or whatever, but that's just finger pointing. But if you really want to make a change, if you really want to make a difference, then improve yourself, change yourself, and you might see the world around you begin to change. I think somebody coined the phrase, be the change you want to see.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's go to our YouTube family.
Okay, let's go over to the YouTube family.
Leaving them out, we've left them out.
Okay, we don't want to leave out our YouTube brothers and sisters and family. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is from our brother David Mohammed. If we don't unite, what we saw happening in Spain to our brothers will continue to happen.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? How the lamestream media is not making any comments about what happened recently on the border between Morocco and Spain, when so many Africans were absolutely slaughtered in broad daylight on camera, and yet we don't hear anything about that, when, according to my understanding, that was just an issue of people wanting to seek asylum or immigration, similar to what the Ukrainians desire, but we don't see the Ukrainians being slaughtered at borders. In fact, we see the complete opposite. We see people bending over backwards to accommodate them, while Africans are slaughtered. Okay, let's return to this. Okay. I'm not going to read out any more from John Canoe with this. He's on this retarded Caribbean people thing. I'm really just not going to entertain it. I think it's a complete waste of time using that type of language when it comes to our people. I totally and utterly disagree with the language. I think that language in and of itself is retarded. And so, dear beloved family, you know, I'm really happy that we are having the conversation. And, you know, there are other things also that we want to talk about. As we said, the war in Ukraine, the aftermath of the pandemic, and all of these people who are currently falling down, losing their lives. This idea of a new world order, the so-called Great Reset, the new normal, disaster preparedness. What are you doing, dear family, in preparing for the dark days that are potentially ahead of us? How much food have you got in your home prepared? How much water have you got stored? Are you in a position where if you had to stay in your home for 3 months, okay, 90 days, do you have provisions to last, to take care of your family under such circumstances? These are very, very important things that all of us should be considering wherever we are on the planet. It's not just about being in the UK or anywhere else. It's wherever we are on the planet today, there is the potential that some days are coming when we will not be able to safely leave our homes, and we will have to have prepared survival kits within our own homes. Where is Black male-female relationships? Where is the Black family? Where is the Black child? How are we relating to our people when it comes to these questions? Why is it imperative for the Black world to unite? Who are the Black leaders who are offering real solutions and leadership in today's time, 2022? Who are the Black leaders? Can anybody name any Black leaders apart from the last man standing, the Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? We make no apology for saying that he is the last man standing. Name the Black leaders that you know who are out there today actually leading and offering real solutions to the problems and the dilemmas, not just calling Black people names, okay, but offering solutions and a way forward for our people. And the question, do shows like The Hidden Truth and Imagination, this show that we are on right now, the People's Podcast with Joshua Muhammad from the United States, Elevated Places from the United States with Sister Dr. Minister Ava Muhammad, the Sister Shanice Show, Wake Up Africa with Dr. Mumbai. Do they help to offset the propaganda of the lamestream media? Do we need these shows? And do we need more shows like this? Because it seems to me that when it comes to Black media, that we are still very, very limited in finding alternatives to, you know, what we need. Brother Alvin has raised his hand, I saw. Can you see? If brother wants to come in, let's...
Do you want to come in live, Brother Alvin?
Would you like to come in live, Brother Alvin, to share with us this evening? If so, we would love to hear from you, dear brother. Make an indication so that Sister Claudia can see you, and then we will bring you in. So, dear family, this is what we're having this evening, a general discussion on all of these topics, 9 topics in all. But as we said, if you have something that you wanted to particularly talk about, then you are most welcome.
So when you're ready, Brother Alvin.
When you're ready, Brother Alvin, please put on your camera, your microphone, and come in.
Sorry, brother. Assalamu alaikum. Actually,
sir.
I unmuted by accident. I was actually listening in, but my fan I muted by accident. So I haven't got actually a question at this present moment in time or a comment. I'm just listening in.
Okay.
But absolutely proper though, what you said so far.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, brother, for tuning in and being with us. this evening. Thank you.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. So, dear family, you know, the time, as always, is running and passing and running. We've got about 25 minutes left. And so feel free to make your comment in the chat, and then we will go to that and see what we can participate. Okay, so John Canoe says, I raise my hand, I'm ready to go live. Too many black cowards, poor, sad individual. You will not be speaking on this show, my friend, whoever you are. You are very, very rude, and you need to go elsewhere. You're a troll, and you need to go elsewhere and have your fun somewhere else. We're interested here in those persons who really want to make a contribution, okay? Because that's what the Image and Nation show is all about. We just haven't got time for people who are so full of hatred that they, you know, spend their time trolling progressive shows where people are trying to get things done, and they want to come on and just waste people's time. I don't care where you're from. He's saying here that we know him from Speaker's Corner. Yeah, all the more reason. So many foolish people go to Speaker's Corner. Again, people who haven't got anything useful to do. So they spend their time trolling, whether it's in Speaker's Corner or elsewhere online. Dear family, it is critically important that we do have these discussions, that we do have these conversations, because in the end, what the enemy wants is for us to not speak to one another, for us to not have the critical conversations, looking at the critical questions and ultimately seeking solutions. You know, let me tell you something about the Nation of Islam. In the Nation of Islam, we have something which is not being really as fully utilized as it ought to be, but I really love it. And I love when it was introduced to us, and that what was introduced to us is called lawful dialogue. And what I love about lawful dialogue is the idea that when you sit down with a brother or a sister, or indeed anybody, to have a discussion, to have a conversation, it could be a debate, it could be a contentious issue, but that the idea is that when you sit down first and foremost, if it's going to be lawful dialogue, you sit down with the idea of reaching a consensus, the idea of reaching agreement. You do not sit down with the attitude and the belligerent idea of being in opposition or trying to, you know, put somebody else down or trying to score points or win points against people. You know, I remember a beautiful brother once said that if, for instance, in a marriage, you know, the husband wins the argument, the marriage loses. If the wife wins the argument, the marriage loses. You see, so this isn't about trying to win arguments against one another. The idea is trying to unify. The idea is trying to come together. The idea is trying to work together to achieve a goal, to accomplish the mission, as opposed to, you know, cheap point scoring and trying to win arguments, which, like I said, whichever side wins, the team loses. And so this is just not what this process is about. So anybody who wants to come on to the Image and Nation show with a view to trying to score points or trying to, win some type of argument, you're in the wrong place. This is not the right forum for you. You need to go somewhere where people have got time to waste their energy arguing and trying to win or score cheap points. This is not that type of forum. In this forum, we're trying to reach consensus. We're trying to reach agreement. We are trying to see how we can actually help the masses of our people to grow, develop, and to become that which Almighty God Allah, put us here in the first place to be. And so,
has he got another question, Brother Alvin?
Brother Alvin, did you have a point that you wanted to raise?
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead, my brother.
Assalamu alaikum, family, and to the wider audience, greetings and peace and love to everybody. Just listening to everything that you've been saying and this general discussion is so important because we know I'm a member of the Nation of Islam, so I can be biased to what we've been taught and how we might think that what black people might need and what we believe that what they should aim for. But let's really look at it deep down to each individual person. When we look at the black community, we have to really ask ourselves the question, where are we going? What is it that we want? Who owns what? Who's doing what? If we believe, many of us as Christians or Muslims or Jews or whatever belief we've got, what is it that we want from what? Don't we see value in black people? And even to make comments about, where we can never get together, we got small island, big island, who actually's mind we're in? Ain't we asking questions about where we actually, how we evolved to the point that where we are today? It didn't just happen. It didn't just happen in a vacuum. We actually went through a process. We were born as children, but we didn't come out as adults from our mother's womb. So we got to really start thinking about where we are and how we got here. And when we actually talk about the past, we talk about the past and it's like we put it on the shelf and then pull it out when we want to. But the reality is, if we don't actually delve deeper into the past to understand why we're here and whose mind we're in, then we would never really come to that point of looking at one another as brothers and sisters, because people see the value of what the nation has done and is doing, but you turn around and say, oh, well, I can't join you or can't be with you because of a label. And that's something which sticks with my mind, is that we focus on the label instead of the content. And until we break that, we talk about unity, but really deep down, look at ourselves. I'm looking at myself in the mirror and say, what do I really want for myself, my family, and my people? And these questions that we as a black community do not really want to face and own up to. Assalamu alaikum.
Beautiful, brother. Thank you so much. Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for that, Brother Alvin. We got Yon Muhammad who wants to make a comment. So come in, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, this is Brother Yon Muhammad from Muhammad's Mosque number 1, Detroit, Michigan, here in the United States.
Oh, praise
and I thank you, and I thank you for having this program on. I just want to make a brief comment, is that we as Black people must unite. If we forget what happened during the COVID, here in the United States, particularly in the city that I'm in, there were many people who were left without anything when COVID hit, when we were on lockdown. And the only thing that we had was the unity of each other in our neighborhoods. You know, we had to go back to that. COVID's not over. This experimentation with this virus is not over. And I say that because there was a Senate hearing recently here in the United States on the COVID. And what came out from their own doctors was that there had been experimentations in South Africa dealing with this COVID, experimentation with the vaccination in South Africa. And so if we don't unite, we are subject as a people to perish. So unity is greatly needed right now. Economically, you look at the economic system, Bitcoin is hardly worth anything, if anything. You know, the dollar or the pound is hardly worth anything, you know. And so the currency that we are depending upon is not even in existence anymore. And so all we have is each other, you know, and right now and in the coming future. So our unity is imperative that we unite as a people. It's imperative that we unite with each other. It's imperative that we work together hard, building something for ourselves, and let go of the petty differences. You see?
Beautiful.
Because when division, as we know, if you're Christian, it doesn't matter if you're Christian, Muslim, Jew, whatever. In all those traditions, it says that the MO or modus operandi, or the way that Satan operates, is through division. And if he can divide us as he has, you know, saying that brothers living that are in the Caribbean, brothers that are in Haiti, brothers that are in Mali or Nigeria, we all supposed to be different, but we're different, but we are all from the same origin. And if they can divide us and keep us separated, then they can master us and take us down as their world is going down at this time, as we see every day. Yes. I know it's really strong here in the United States. If you look at the way things that are happening in the government with the president himself, you know, coming up for prosecution, people rioting, you know, on the government. You know, you don't see that in other governments around the world, but you see it here. It's a sign that a world is coming to its end, and this great power is being brought down to its knees. But we're taught that as one goes down, another has to come up. But thank you, brother.
Thank you, Brother Yom. Thank you so much for that, brother, for that contribution. Absolutely beautiful. And really, you know, our brother from Detroit, Michigan, was really dealing with that question number 6. Why is it imperative? He emphasized that word several times, the imperative reason for us to unite as a people and to take care of business in that way. Thank you so much for that contribution, dear brother.
We have DJ Mr. P.
DJ Mr. P wants to make a comment. Come in, my brother. DJ Mr. P, want to hear from you, sir?
Yep, sorry. I was just trying to find out how to unmute. Wonderful to be speaking with you on the other side, my brother.
Wonderful.
Assalamu alaikum to you, and also Claudia as well.
Wa alaikum salam. Wonderful to hear you, sir. Go ahead, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Just wanted to touch again on this point and reiterate what I said earlier, as well as the brother that was, I think, in Detroit, touch on some of what he said. And that is looking at that question, unite. You know, unity, all I've got to say on that really is unity is strength. The reason why we're weak as a people is we're not united. And this whole thing regarding identity and that crisis we're suffering from, the whole identity crisis, is, I think, our foundation of, or is the basis as to why we can't unite. Because as somebody said earlier on, I think it's Alvin, you've got this big island, small island nonsense going on in the West Indies. Then you've got the shadism that happens. You've got the light skin versus dark skin. Then you've got the Africans versus the West Indians, or the African Americans versus the Africans. So rather than look at our differences, I think what we need to focus on is what we have in common. Yeah. Absolutely. And the commonality is we're all Africans at the end of the day. Yeah. Every single person on this planet came out of Africa. Yeah. They may not look like us, but they came out of Africa. Africa is a cradle of civilization. So to say you're not African is a disrespect to your ancestors and stuff. So that's the first thing. Second thing, we have no economic base. Until we get ourselves together and develop an economic base, we will never be taken seriously. Like you said, I posted the video out a couple of days ago about what went on in that town there in Morocco, the border of Morocco, that town, Meladine or Medina or whatever it's called. Yeah. When the Ukrainians were there crying and wanted to run away from what was previously Russia, yeah, everybody welcomed them with open arms. But America and the West cause problems, and then when the chickens come home to roost, they don't want to deal with it. Mm-hmm. They drop bombs on countries. They create a refugee crisis, and then when the refugees come running for asylum, they don't want to know. They want to send them to Rwanda. But anyway, yeah. But anyway, getting back, back on point. Unless we have an economic base, nothing's going to change, because the way the world works is it's all about money. How the world works, and we don't have an economic base, and therefore we will not be taken seriously, and we're going to be continuously abused. So they're really the main points that I wanted to put across this evening. And thanks for having this show, Leo. I really do appreciate the work that you do. I acknowledge you for who and what you are, and just more grease to your elbows. More grease to your elbows. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep going.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you very much for those comments. Yes, sir. All about pooling resources, according to DJ Mr. P. We've got to come together. We've got to pool resources. We've got to develop an economic base in order for us as the people to turn this thing around. And, I've got to say that according to, and in future shows, we want to go more deep into it, but there are some wonderful things happening in pockets of our people on this planet. It's not all doom and gloom. Some of our people are making those efforts, and we just need to support, and we need to make sure that when we look at ourselves, because I think again it was Mr. P who made the point earlier on about the self-improvement, and developing of self. We've got to just always, in my humble opinion, be looking at ourselves to ask ourselves the question: am I part of the solution or am I part of the problem? Okay, did we have somebody else?
One more person.
Okay, so we're going to have one last person to make a contribution to come on live.
And that's Lamin.
Onto the Imagination show, and that's Lamin, Brother Lamin. Please unmute and say your piece. Brother Lamin. Are you there, my brother? If not, we're going to have to move forward and on. We are near the end. And before we get to the end, we want to acknowledge some more of our sponsors before closing out for the evening. But I'm very happy that this evening we have had our general discussion, our general conversation, and that the contributions which have been made. And as we go forward with the Imagination show in the future, we want to have more interaction, more conversations around the particular issues that we raise, because hearing from you who are part of the Black community on a global scale is very, very important, because the more we speak together, the more we will see what we have in common and how we might work together, how we might collaborate together, and really create a nation without borders, because that's another important aspect. Just because the Caucasian has got this border here and that border there and this other border, and then you have to get visa and you have to have this and you have to fulfill this criteria or that criteria to go. It doesn't mean, dear family, that we have to emulate him and be like him in terms of his divisions. It's important that we recognize our family wherever we are on the planet, and that we once again become that global family across the world. Go ahead.
So Lamin is trying to.
Lamin is trying to come in. Are you there, brother? Are you there, brother Lamin? Well, I mean, you know, even I know Mr. P was having trouble finding the unmute button, so I'm not sure. He's unmuted.
Yeah.
Brother Lamin?
But we just can't hear him.
Can't hear you, brother. And I'm just making an assumption. Lamin, there was a lots of Lamins that I met in the Gambia. So I don't know if you're from that part of the world, but maybe there's a problem with the internet. Maybe it's not strong enough. I don't know. But, you know, at this time, dear family, I'm going to move on and forward because it's important that we touch base. At this time, let us check out a few more of our sponsors. And so don't forget, dear family, Nia's Bean Pies. Visit Instagram and check out at Nia's Bean Pie, or call on 07956 127975. That's 07956 127975, and order your bean pie that can be delivered to your door. All right, family. Also, don't forget, we're in those summer months. I'm sure you can see the sun shining through my window right now and absolutely just all over my face. You need to get yourself some nice t-shirts, Proud to be Black. Visit www.p2bb.uk or londonstudygroup19.org and order your Proud to be Black t-shirts, caps, and mugs, and say it like you mean it, P2BB. In other words, dear family, proud to be Black. Also visit the tribe, okay, at www.tribenation2019.com and pick up a garment that you can wear and show your level of consciousness. Dear family, we wear lots and lots of labels that don't belong to us, but maybe we should pick up something from the tribe and start wearing that and demonstrate that we are circulating that Black pound. Also visit www.natureshairproducts.co.uk and try the moisturizing hair and scalp oil, as well as beard oil and other natural hair products. You will not regret it. These products from Nature's Hair Products are absolutely phenomenal based on the feedback that Sister Claudia has received. Don't forget, brothers and sisters, visit our YouTube channel, the Nation of Islam London Study Group New. New means north, east, and west. Like, share, subscribe. Also click that donation button to help us continue what we are attempting to do. Dear beloved family, it is absolutely, you know, such a pleasure, such an honor for me to have the opportunity to come to you each and every week to share with you some of these life-giving teachings. And this evening, what we've done is to really ask a series of questions and try to instigate a discussion, a conversation around those questions. And like I said before, I'm very happy that you have engaged, that you've made your comments in the chat. I can't say that I'm necessarily pleased with everything that came in, because as I said, some of it really is very negative. I don't want us to be talking about Black people as retarded and using that type of very emotive and nasty language against our own people. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's backward. I think it's something that we need to avoid, and we need to be much more progressive and positive when it comes to, you know, dealing with our people. We need to uplift our people, because our people have been beaten down for far too long. And whether we really appreciate it or not, in 2022, we're in the time of the rise of the Black man and woman of the original people back to our position of eminence, love, order, unity, togetherness. This is where we are on our way to. And so, dear family, I really want to thank you for tuning in and taking part in the discussion. And I'm really looking forward to continuing our engagement on the Image and Nation show. And so, without further ado, I look forward to seeing you all next week, inshallah. The word inshallah simply means God willing. If it be his will, and if he spares our life and we are alive this time next week, then we'll be back on the Image and Nation show starting at 6:30. And we would be greatly appreciative if you would tune in and be with us once again, where we will have a new subject matter to deal with. And so I want to greet you as I found you all in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be unto you. Take care, beloved family. Thank you so much for being a part of the Image and Nation show this evening. Look forward to seeing you all again very soon.